Good evening, dear friends. Hope you're all doing well. Let's do today's Daily Mitzvah for Monday, the 83rd day of learning the Daily Mitzvah. And we are on a fascinating subject right now. So, generally speaking, as we learned yesterday, when a woman gets married and her husband dies, the death of her husband is what halachically permits her to any man going forward. And all she needs to do is start the process over of marrying a man and entering into a marriage according to Torah, and that creates a new marriage. She does not need a divorce. Okay, but that said, there's only one time that even after the husband's death, she is not yet a, so to speak, free woman and available to everyone or anyone, which is when her husband died childless. If the husband dies childless, which means he does not have any children, and this brother has a single available brother, that brother right now and this woman are automatically connected, and they basically are by default married. This is only if the married brother didn't have any children and died. This woman then becomes connected on a marriage level to the single brother. And there's a mitzvah in the Torah, it's its own mitzvah, it's called the mitzvah of Yibum, that these two, the widowed wife and her late husband's brother, should enter into marriage. But let's say they don't want. One of them don't want to live with the other one. So then there's a separate mitzvah, which is what we're going to be learning about today. The mitzvah of chalitza. And dear friends, this is a biblical mitzvah, but it's quite a mysterious mitzvah. And it's really where you kind of see something happening. And the Torah gives us the exact instructions how it's done. But this is not one of the mitzvahs you could say that we understand why or how this particular course of action makes something happen. It's a mysterious mitzvah. So the way it works is like this. That basically the Yibum, the Yavam and the Yavama, which means the widowed woman, she's called the Yavama, and the Yavam, which is the single brother of her late husband, should come to a Jewish court, and the court should help them determine if they should enter into a relationship, and they should get married, which would be the mitzvah of Yibum, or maybe they're not really meant for each other, they're not compatible, maybe there's a very large age gap, or just maybe you could kind of see that this is not really the right match. And then the sages would recommend to do the mitzvah of chalitza. Chalitza is where this man and this woman will do something that will sever the ties that they have been thrown into with each other. So the Rambam says, today's mitzvah, that we were commanded, also the mitzvah, that the Yavama should do the mitzvah of chalitza to the Yavam if they do not wish to get married. And this is what the Torah says, V'cholza nale me'al ragle, and she should remove the shoe from upon his foot. The basic way that it happens is they have to do it in front of a Jewish court. And there could be other people witnessing this very interesting and rare occurrence. This is a very, very rare type of thing to happen. This does not happen regularly. She has to say certain texts, he has to say certain texts, and the way it works is that he has to put on a very specific kind of shoe on his right foot. It has to be a leather shoe with a strap, very, very specific. So the Jewish court's going to give this man, the single brother of the late husband, a shoe to put on his right foot. She then bends down, removes the shoe, and unties the shoe from his foot. And then she must spit on the ground in front of this brother. That is what severs the ties between these two people, the widow and the brother, and then they could each go on their lives, and she could get married to whoever she wants, etc. Now, how does taking off a leather shoe and spitting in front of his face do anything? For that, you have to ask somebody smarter than me. I don't know, it's a mysterious mitzvah, but this is what it is. Now, the Rambam, let's just wrap up with this. The Rambam says that a quote from the Talmud that mitzvahs yibum kaidemes lemitzvahs chalitza, that the mitzvah for these two parties to enter into marriage, which is the yibum, takes priority over the mitzvah of chalitza, that they should become severed, that they should sever the relationship, which means there's two mitzvahs here. They're both mitzvahs. Which one is preferable? Is it preferable that they get married, or is it preferable that they separate? Or is it 50-50, which means the Torah doesn't have a preference? So the Gemara tells us, the Talmud tells us, no, the preference is that they should get married. And it's a negative thing if they don't want to get married. But there's also a mitzvah called chalitza if it's not going to work out, if they don't want or it's not palatable. But the Rambam shows us with this quote that, look, the Talmud clearly calls both the yibum and the chalitza a mitzvah. So here we have the proof that this whole process is in fact one of the 613 mitzvahs. And the Rambam also tells us an interesting fact, that this is all discussed in a tractate of Talmud. There's a full tractate in the Talmud called Masechta Yevamis, the tractate that has to do with the Yibum, with the Yavam, with the Yavama. And that tractate also discusses the mitzvah of chalitza, how to get out of the whole Yibum business. So why is the tractate called Yevamis and not chalitzas? Why does it give preference to one mitzvah over the other? So that says this is the reason. Even though the tractate discusses both mitzvahs, but since the preference is that there should be a yibum, that this brother should move in and become married to his sister-in-law, since that's the preference, that's why this tractate is called by that name, even though it also discusses chalitza. All right, dear friends, that's today's mitzvah. Very interesting, very fascinating, and I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you all soon for our next daily mitzvah. God bless you all.